When did you first interact with Neil? Well, let me tell you a little story. So, way back in the day, I was a young whippersnapper, and I was playing StarCraft 2. And every day on my lunch break, I'd go on Team Liquid. God, I've not been on this website for ages. And I'd go on the forums, and I'd just search through the threads, and I eventually found a thread that said JP McDaniel, who was a streamer and a host for MLG. TL.net. Oh, thank you. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it was in the general. It was in here. It was a thread that said, like, in fact, you know, I wonder if it's... There's no way I can find that, right? No. Anyway, JP McDaniel was playing a D&D campaign on stream, and he was playing with Jeff in Control Robinson, as well as some other people from M&G that he knew. And I'd always been fascinated with D&D because... Oh wait, here we go. This wasn't the original post, but this seems to be a post on D&D about on Team Liquid about it. Anyway, so I used to play this game that you might have heard of. Oh my god, I used to just love this game so fucking much. And I played on this server called Nordock, it was called. This was the city that you started in. Anyway, I was obsessed with this game for years, and it's based on 3rd edition D&D. And I remember having this conversation with this guy that I was doing a quest with one time when I was a kid. And he was like, oh, have you ever played D&D in real life? And I said, no. And he was like, oh, it's amazing. It's like the best thing ever. And I was like, how does it, what is it? And he's like, oh, it's like the game, but it's just like, you play it in your head. It's like there's no map or anything. You just kind of roll dice. And it was just in my head. Like, I don't understand. Like, I do not understand like how that is going to work as a game. And he's like, oh, you know, it's amazing. Like IDM and some of my players would like ring me up in the middle of the night, like pull me out of the game. I can't stop thinking about it. So in the back of my head, over all these years, I'd always been interested in what D&D was, but I had no idea really. Anyway, so I saw this post on TL and I was like, oh, I'll check that out. So I started watching it. I think they were on like the 4th episode or something by then. So I started watching from the 1st episode and got like instantly hooked and like binged it all over the course of a weekend to like catch up to where they were up to in the show. And this was at the same time that Game of Thrones was on, and I was like finding myself like more excited for the next episode of Roleplay than I was for like the next episode of Game of Thrones. So I was like a huge fan of In Control and Neil as the DM after that. And I was browsing I was watching Roleplay, and Neil mentioned that he was doing a trip around Europe and he was staying with like fans of the show in various cities around the country. So, and he was like, the details on my subreddit. So I went to Neil's subreddit and I found the post and I looked at it, and lo and behold, he was actually coming to Liverpool, which is where I was living at the time in the city centre. So I sent him a message and I said, hey Neil, I'm a big fan. I've seen that you're stopping in Liverpool when you're traveling around Europe. Like, let me know what your plans are. I'd love to like come and meet you for a drink. And he messaged me back straight away and said, oh, the guy I was meant to be staying with in Liverpool has just cancelled on me actually. Could I stay with you? So I was like, oh shit. Okay then. So I asked Fran, and Fran was like, no, you can't invite this guy from the internet to come and stay at our house. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And she was like, well, I'm going to my mum's. So Fran left to go to her mum's that weekend. I got my friend Dom to come round on the evening of the day he arrived, because just in case, right? Just in case Neil turned out to be a psychopath. And I remember waiting for him in Lime Street Station in Liverpool, and he walked out of the bit you come off the platform or whatever. I went over to him and was like, oh, hey Neil, nice to meet you. like, how was your journey? Where have you just been? I was like talking to him. He's kind of a bit like, he was a bit like quiet with me. I think he was just like getting his bearings. And I was like, oh, I need to go and buy some food to cook dinner for tonight. Do you want to come with me? So we're like wandering around Liverpool, like I go to the butcher or whatever, get the food. And it's like pouring down with rain and I'm getting like absolutely soaked and I'm carrying loads of bags and it's fucking miserable. And I was like, God, I'm really sorry about the rain. It fucking sucks. And he's like, oh, you know what, man? It's like it never rains in California. I really like love the rain. I like walking in the rain. And I just thought, you cunt. Who likes walking in the rain? Don't be a dick. Anyway, so we get back to my flat and I start cooking dinner. And I'd mentioned to Neil via email, I was like, I don't know if you smoke weed, but I know you're from California, so maybe you do. Like, let me know, because I'll get some in. He, like, never responded about it. And this was, like, maybe about 3 hours after we'd first met. I was, like, cooking, and we were, like, chatting about whatever. And he was like, yeah, you mentioned, like, weed. Like, I didn't want to say anything before, because I didn't know if you'd be weird or not, but you seem pretty normal, so, like, yeah, I'm up for it. And I was like, oh, sick. So I go and got my weed, and we, like, smoked a joint. It's, like, pretty good times. And then my friend Dom came over. We were like getting stoned. We were playing the Game of Thrones board game. Neil didn't want to smoke a joint because a spliff because he doesn't want to smoke tobacco. So he made a bong out of an apple. So he taught me how to make a bong out of an apple, or a pipe out of an apple, really, which is pretty sick. So smoked weed out of an apple. That was pretty cool. Just got really stoned and played board games. It was sick. And then the next day, we went to a gaming cafe that I'd booked a table at in the city. That we'd messaged other people. People had been messaging me saying, like, let me know what your plans are when you're in the city with Neil, because I'll come and meet you. So I got this place. I got this table at this place. And me and Neil walk there in the morning, and we're sitting down, waiting for the other people to turn up. And this random guy comes up to me, he's like, oh, hey, aren't you, like, Neil from Roleplay? And he was like, yeah, come and sit down. He was like, oh, no, I'm doing this tournament. And this guy wasn't even there to meet Neil. He was just a random dude who recognized him. And I thought, holy shit, this guy's actually fucking famous. So we sit there and we wait, and three people turned up. So there was a lad that goes by Dragon Tao on Neil's subreddit, who is now transitioned to a woman. So now no longer a lad, but a woman. He was there. / she. I don't know the etiquette on that. She was there, I guess. Anyway, and then this couple turned up, Layla and Chris, who any of you who've watched Frozen Frontier or Dicing with Death will know that Layla and Chris are the people that do the voiceover for the recaps. So they were there as well. So there was the four of us and Neil, and we were playing a bit of D&D, and this was my first time playing D&D. I'd only DM'd at this point. And I made a character. I think he was like a thief because I rolled shit stats, obviously. And Neil like put together this really quick, like one shot for us to do. And everyone else was really, really shy and like barely said anything. So we played D&D for like 2.5 hours, and it was basically just me and Neil playing D&D together. They chipped in a little bit, but everyone was. I could tell people were really shy, so it was mostly like me and Neil playing. That was great. And then that night we met up with Dom again, and we went for a curry at a restaurant. Had a great time. Neil left the next day. It's really good. And then about 6 months later, he started doing this show called Hardcore Heroes, and he said that he's doing auditions for the show. And to apply, you had to make a character with a backstory and send it to him. And then he'd pick like 12 people to do an audition with for an hour on the stream, and then he'd pick 4 people from that. So I applied and got chosen out of the 12. And I've since spoke to Neil about this, and he said he almost didn't want to pick me because he didn't want to seem like he was favoriting me because we knew each other beforehand. But he said my audition was so good that he had no choice. And that was it. I started playing on Hardcore Heroes, played that for about 2 years. When that finally finished, we immediately started playing Frozen Frontier. That probably lasted for like another 2.5 years. And then Lucas asked me to be on Tombs of Scoria. No, on Odam. I played a few sessions on Odam, and then when that ended, I moved straight onto Tombs of Scoria. And that's kind of where we are now, really. So I didn't mean to give a history of my life, but you asked how I first met Neil, so there you go. That's the story. So your Hardcore Hero audition was just for show and you got in through bed. No, that's what I'm saying, Barbek. I had to audition. I had to do better than everyone else, to be honest. How did you get on Odam? Did Koibu hit you up? Nah, yeah, Lucas messaged me. I'd briefly played with Steven and Lily and Lucas and oh shit, what's his name? Devon in Gnomes, Tomes and Catacombs because they ran into Malachi at one point. So I came on for an episode in Gnomes, Tomes and Catacombs. Which was really fun. Steven was on Demon's Run? No, Lucas was, not Steven. After they nuked the town. Yeah, that's right. When you first played in GTC, you had spinach in your teeth. Did I? Oh my god. That's awful. Larian Megariel. Nice name. It was like 2 AM. Yeah, it was. It's the best GTC episode, honestly. You know, you could say that, yeah. You could say that. I hate how Destiny and Mutant are always evil, or at least never good. It's just, it's hard to be good in D&D, because the way Neil plays it is there's always rewards for being evil. You'll always have an easier time if you're just willing to kill someone and take their things. So it's hard to resist it. And I'm afraid that Tyrael and Anton or Steven and Lucas just don't have the... Deep down, they're gamers before they're role players. So given the chance to have a powerful magic item, if the price for that is to just kill an NPC, then fuck it, yeah, why not do it? It's hard, and I sound quite flippant, but it's hard to do that because it's easy to justify it in yourself. You can find a way to justify it, which is fine, but it is, to be committed to the alignment is a little bit more difficult. I've tried really hard to stay committed to Imrik's alignment. Imrik is for sure still good. Yeah, he is. And I know that they kind of resent me making an argument about killing that carriage driver or all these other things, but what I don't want to happen to my character, because I feel a lot more comfortable in Tides of Death because I'm kind of playing the leader again. And even though Malachi wasn't the leader in Hardcore Heroes, for a long time there was only 2 of us and I had kind of like a very central role. And obviously William was the leader in Frofro. So I'm used to being at the front and center of the party, whereas Imrik is most definitely like a lot more passive and reacting more to them. And because we don't have a lot of in-character role playing all the time, there's not a lot of time for like trying to talk them around to my way of seeing things necessarily. So the last thing I want to happen is for my character to get dragged along into doing things that he wouldn't do just because I haven't really had the chance to stop them. So whenever something really bad has happened, or when they've considered murder or like unnecessary murder or whatever, I want to make a point of standing up to them because I feel like it makes sense in character, especially with the way Tyrael and Anton have been telling Imrik he needs to stand up for himself. So I'm definitely going to do that now. Do you see a world where Anton and Tyrael try to overthrow the Queen and Imrik takes the side of the Queen? No. I see a world where maybe they say that that's what they're going to do, and I leave and try and make some sort of arrangement behind their back with the Queen. Which they'd be pretty unhappy about, I'm sure. But I could see myself doing that. Because honestly, civil war is like the worst outcome ever, right? Like, it's not even that much of a stretch to say that Imrik might rather see Tyrael and Anton dead than a civil war in Druckus. Because it's like 2 dead people against like potentially thousands. I'm not saying that that's true, but it's not unfeasible that that would be a consideration.